This is the Hotone Ampero 2 Stomp, and it rocks. Howdy guys and girls, hope you're all having a fantastic day. Check this out. How good does this sound? This is the brand new Hotone Ampero 2 Stomp. My very good friends over at Hotone were very kind enough to send me one over a couple of weeks ago, and I have been having an absolute blast playing it. I'm going to tell you all about the features in a second, but you know, this felt fantastic to play. Now, when I say it felt fantastic to play, I don't mean just the sounds. The sounds are gorgeous. You heard them on the track which you just listened to, and it's a really lush sounding unit. The models are very HD. Everything which has been programmed into this is very, very high definition. Yes, we love that. We love high definition. What I mean by it felt good to play was under my fingers. As a guitar player, you know, I'm always looking for that, and it's the reason I use tube amps, because they feel different to play rather than digital units. But this felt like my amps. This really did, and that was kind of freaky. Yeah, it felt kind of freaky initially. It felt so good to play. Anyways, this is the brand new unit which Hotone have come out with. This is the next generation of Ampero. I have the first generation of Ampero, and I loved playing that one. This one I loved even more for a number of reasons. So firstly, the spec. There's more processing power in there. There's over 140 amps, cabs, power amps, preamps. It's got separates in there now. You can actually put a preamp, then a power amp after that. And you have so much control in the power amp section, so you can choose the type of tubes you want to use: EL34s, 6L6s, EL84, 6V6s, KT88s. It's got a bunch of different tubes which are actually built into it. The thing I really love about that section as well is that they've got controls for sag, B+, and also bias. Now, they are really important to shaping sound. Example, when you have a higher B+, which is the actual voltage going to your power amp section and also your preamp section, the amp actually reacts differently. It sounds different, so you can adjust that within the software itself. And likewise with the bias. Bias is really important because it does actually affect the way the overall amp sounds, and you can adjust it within that power amp block, which is awesome. And you can do kind of crazy things, like if you want to hear a Soldano preamp with a KT88 power section, then you can. You can basically just load up the modules separately and basically have a Soldano preamp going into a KT88 power amp. Pretty genius. Then you can create your own styles of amps as well and experiment with the sound to get it exactly like you'd like it to sound. It has over 100 effects pedals modeled into this as well, and they do sound really good. I've really enjoyed playing like the tube screamers, boost pedals. There's a clon in there which sounds absolutely amazing. You heard it actually on the track where I was playing the Dumble amp. How crazy does that sound? I was playing a clon through a Dumble amp through this. Now I know a lot of digital modelers do this, but it just felt really awesome to play, which is why I fingerpicked that part. Anyways, has over 60 original effects by Hotone in there as well. And for the first time ever, it also has 20 Celestion impulse responses built right into the unit, also in the impulse response block. You can also load up your own impulse responses. I have my favorite impulse responses, including the impulse responses which I captured from my own speaker, which is a 1978 Celestion G1280 speaker, and it sounds absolutely wonderful, and it's so cool to be able to actually load that into the unit and use that with the amp models in here. Also has acoustic sounds built into there, bass amplifiers, loopers, synth sounds. Everything I played on that track was created by this. Effects as well. I actually recorded everything wet. I didn't add any EQ or effects on Logic when I recorded the session. This did everything, and the really cool thing about it was that everything just dropped into place EQ wise. You know, it didn't need to be boosted or cut anywhere in order to just make it sound good. That was phenomenal because that makes workflow really easy with something like this. Now, for the first time ever, it has dual effects chains in here as well. So you can actually run parallel effects if you want to, and you can actually change where the nodes are, where the input and the output is, which makes it very flexible. But you can also run dual rigs, and that first rhythm sound was actually a 50-watt Marshall on one side and a Soldano on the other. 2 amps which I actually own. Now, it was pretty cool doing that because I got a combination of the amps with the cab sounds that I wanted as well. And Hotone's own cab sounds in this sound absolutely fantastic. I actually used mostly the cab sounds from the Hotone unit rather than the third-party impulse responses which I loaded up, or the Celestion impulse responses, because they sounded really good and they're very tweakable. There is a low pass and a high pass filter on the cab module itself. You can actually do dual miking as well now. They've actually added that into the list of microphones. So whereas previously you had either the 57 or the 421 or the 121 microphone as a single microphone, now they've got combinations. So you can have the 57 plus the 121 or the 57 plus the 421. It makes the tweakability of the sound much better on the unit. And you can place the microphones wherever you want on the cab so that you can change the response, the sound, etc. You can roll off some of the high end by moving the microphone further away from the center of the speaker. Brilliant. Absolutely loved doing that with the unit. The audio interface in the unit has also been updated now. It is now an 8x8 input-output. It's phenomenal for a unit like this. It is also been updated to USB 3, so there's a USB 3 connector on there as well, and it works really well. I actually recorded everything via the USB connection straight into Logic and using the outputs on this, and it sounded really good. And this has been coupled with enhanced routing through the Ampero 2. Because you can set up 2 separate signal chains, you can then route them to different outputs on the Ampero. So you can have one output going to the main outputs, which you can plug into the front of your amp, and then the second signal chain you can actually route to the FX send and return, which means that you can put those effects into the loop of your amp. Now this makes it super versatile, because then you can run things like the boost pedals, the overdrive pedals, the wah pedal, the volume pedal into the front of your amp, and then actually loop the time-based effects into the loop of your amp. So you can have your delay, reverbs, choruses, etc. running in the loop rather than everything just through a single point on your amplifier. Super versatile. And it means that I can set this up with my amplifiers and actually use the overdrive pedals built into the unit, but also use the time-based effects, but going to a separate point in my amp, into the loop of my amp. Genius. This also makes it possible to reamp within the unit without actually having to take a cable out of your other interface, put it into here, and then record it through the output back in. No, everything can be done through the USB interface on this. I'm going to be doing a separate video showing you exactly how to do that because it is really phenomenal. I tried it the other day and I was pretty blown away by the results because I could do everything within the unit without having to kind of plug in anything else. Literally kind of the signal comes back into here, then you record it back into Logic, Cubase, whatever you're using. Absolutely brilliant. One of my favorite features of the unit is that it has a global EQ. I like my sounds to be a very particular way. I usually roll off a lot of the high end and boost certain frequencies. And this actually allowed me to do it on the global scale, so every sound that I have coming out of the Ampero to Stomp is EQ'd to my perfection, basically, which I like to hear when I'm recording, playing, etc, etc. Tons of inputs and outputs on the unit. There are 2 inputs on the unit. It's also expandable, so you can put an external expression pedal, has balanced outputs on it, has MIDI as well, the USB 3, which is the audio interface as well. This can be used for the MIDI as well. So you can assign whether you want to use the regular MIDI ports or you want to use the USB 3 for MIDI as well. And then on the other side we have an effects loop as well, so that you can use your favorite effects units as well with the Ampero 2. It also has an auxiliary in and a headphone output as well. The other thing that it does really well is takes pedals. I actually used this to record some clips of an overdrive pedal a few days ago, and I contemplated plugging in one of my amps. Then I thought, let me try it with the Ampero 2 because it actually has models of amps which I own, like the 50 watt Plexi, which I have, the Soldano SLO, which I recently built as well, etc, etc. So I thought, let me just try how it sounds through here, and the response was extremely similar to my actual amps, and that was quite eerie to listen to, thinking, well, this sits on my desk, my amps basically kind of sit on the shelf and I'm getting the response and it's feeling like I'm playing my actual amps. It's sounding like I'm playing my actual amps, and I loved that about the unit. The unit also ships with these very snazzy covers for the foot switches, which I loved actually. They light up. The Ampero software which this interfaces with is absolutely brilliant as well. I love doing all my editing on my screen over there, but you can do everything from the touch screen and with the knobs as well. It just works really beautifully well. I love the form factor of this as well. They have actually cut down the size and this can fit on a pedal board. It's really convenient. And they've basically made all the expression stuff externals. And then you can connect the expression pedals up to it, the Ampero Press or the Ampero Control, and control it from another location basically. So rather than having to press on this and having the expression on each side, which actually makes it bigger as well, etc, etc. I just love the form factor. Love that they did it in this color as well. Looks very classy. Looks really good on my desk actually. One of the things that I noticed when I turned on Ampero 2 was that the touchscreen has been upgraded as well. It is really good definition and very responsive, more responsive than the first one. So all of the touch responses are really quick and easy to use. So when you want to move things around, it's very easy. Love using it. The dials are also very tactile, and the dials down here, they're actually stepped so you can actually feel them. And the buttons, fantastic. They're soft touch rather than clickety. I like that about it. It also comes with this very snazzy covers on the touch switches, which I think look pretty cool. Anyways, there you go. There's a lot of stuff in this unit. I hope this has given you a little bit of an overview. I loved playing it, and you know what, I'm gonna use it for some stuff for sure because it is so convenient. It feels really good. It sounds amazing. The list price for it will be $499, or if you're in Europe, it'll be 499 euros. In the UK, at 499 pounds. It will be in stores really soon, and you can also get it from the Hotone web store as well. So I shall leave a link in the description box below so you can go and check that out if you would like to purchase one. Lovely unit, sounded fantastic. I'm going to give you that track again because I loved playing it. There were so many wonderful amps which I played with in this. You know, I gravitated towards the amps which I actually own, which, like I said, were the 50 watt Plexi, the Soldano SLO. There was one real surprise in there. I was going through the presets and one of the presets said AFD number 34. Now that's basically the Appetite for Destruction amp, the SIR number 34 amp. Now I actually have that amp within my collection as well. I had built that into my Purple number 39 amplifier, and I've got to say I was really impressed with it. I used it for one of the rhythm tracks on the track which you're just about to hear again, and it did a really good job. And it does resemble the SIR number 34 amp which I have in my Purple number 39 amp. Anyways, love it. Check it out, it is pretty awesome. Alright, here's the track again. Enjoy, and I'll see you really soon with another video. See you later guys, bye.